Is this the Nintendo Xbox team-up that we've been waiting for? Xbox fans, get ready to go to war. Take a look at the world's tiniest Xbox. What's up guys, and welcome to Xbox Ready, the YouTube channel that works to keep you up to date on all things Xbox. If you want to stay Xbox Ready, make sure you subscribe, set your notifications to all so you get alerted to whenever I put up a video. You can also find me on Twitter and Instagram at State of Ray. And I also have a new anime channel that I'm trying to launch called Raynami, so I'd really appreciate it if you checked it out. First up, get ready to go to war, Xbox fans. The wait is over. Age of Empires is finally making its way over from PC, Windows, to your Xbox console. The Xbox account on YouTube just put up this really awesome trailer of Age of Empires 2, the definitive edition, that's coming to Xbox consoles on January 31st. I know there were some question marks regarding this port, especially how Xbox was going to take the keyboard and mouse experience and transfer it over to your Xbox controller. But by all appearances, it seems like they have figured it out. And in the process, Xbox gamers get access for the first time to one of Microsoft's most celebrated franchises. It's also really cool to see that Xbox consoles are getting more RTS games. And with the upcoming spring lineup of Forza Motorsport, Minecraft Legends, Redfall, Starfield, that's a pretty diverse lineup of games coming to your Xbox in 2023. When you take into account, okay, we're also getting Age of Empires 2 and Age of Empires 4. Long story short, 2023 seems to have something for everyone when it comes to Xbox gamers. As a reminder, Age of Empires 2, the definitive edition, is coming to Xbox consoles on January 31st, and you can play it as part of your Game Pass subscription as well. This video is sponsored by Skillshare. How many of you out there made New Year's resolutions? Skillshare can help you achieve those goals and make 2023 a year of learning and growth. Skillshare is an online learning community with literally thousands of classes for people who want to learn to expand their creativity and learn new skills. I know a lot of you love video games. Ever tried to make one? Skillshare actually offers video game development courses and teaches people how you can code in engines like Unity and Unreal Engine 5. I've had my buddy Royce on here talking about his comics that he's trying to self-distribute. If you want to go down that path as well, maybe you take some illustration classes. I was shocked to learn that one of my favorite artists right now, Gabriel Piccolo, is on there offering a class on illustration and making characters. He's the guy who does all the new age Teen Titans stuff. Skillshare is ad-free, so you can stay in the zone while you're exploring your new skills. New premium classes are added every week, so there's always something new to explore. And for my international audience, the entire Skillshare catalog is available in Spanish, Portuguese, French, and German. When you're ready to start investing in yourself, click the link down in the description to get yourself a free month of Skillshare. Thanks again to Skillshare for sponsoring this video. Next up, let's talk about dolphins. And no, I'm not talking about those cute mammals swimming majestically in the ocean. No, I'm talking about an emulator that you can load onto your Xbox to play GameCube and Wii games. Now, this is something I first saw at Windows Central. Apparently, you can use the beta version of the Dolphin Emulator built in as a universal Windows app. According to The Verge, Sir Mangler's fork of the excellent emulator runs on the Xbox Series X and Xbox Series S, and even the lesser of Microsoft's two modern consoles reportedly does an excellent job. Modern Vintage Gamer does a whole video about this, and it looks pretty impressive. You can apparently upscale a lot of those games to 1440p. Apparently this also works on last gen consoles too, the Xbox One X and the One S, but not as well. So The Verge recommends that you stick to the current gen consoles, the Xbox Series X and the Xbox Series S. Of course, before you do any of this, you gotta pay that $25 fee and enable developer mode on your Xbox. It's something I've wanted to try for a long time now, maybe even show it off on the channel myself, but I'm not quite sure what the legality of that situation is. So I'm like, okay, you know what? Let me just take a step back and talk about it rather than showing you how to do it so I don't potentially get in trouble. But this is a highly underrated feature that I feel like is not really talked about a lot. It really shows that Xbox is a pretty versatile console. Like you can hook up a keyboard and mouse to it. You can use it kind of as a computer. You can play Nintendo games on there. GameCube, Wii. There is also RetroArch, which you can load onto your Xbox after you put it in developer mode and play old PlayStation games on there. So in this bizarre twist, Xbox gamers were able to emulate old PlayStation games on their Xbox consoles before they were able to do that on PlayStation 5s. Now apparently some people have been able to get RetroArch, that PlayStation emulator, to work without putting their console into developer developer mode, but I have heard on the flip side of that coin that a lot of people have bricked their Xboxes by doing that, so it's better to just go into the developer mode if you're gonna try any of these things. If you don't want to go through the trouble of putting your Xbox into dev mode, installing the Dolphin Emulator on it, you can play this classic Nintendo title without doing all that. That is right, I am talking about GoldenEye 007. It is finally coming to Xbox consoles today, and it's being added to Game Pass as well. Now, it has been a long journey getting this game onto Xbox consoles. Obviously, Xbox and Microsoft, they owned Rare Studios, who originally made the game back in the 90s, but Nintendo still owned the IP or the rights to the name GoldenEye 007. So there was a lot of legal back and forth between the two companies, but it is finally here. The wait is over. I know a lot of you, like me, have some very fond memories of this game, probably a lot of your first experiences with the FPS genre. The port of this game on Xbox consoles will have 4K textures, smoother frame rates, and it's gonna have split screen co-op. Yeah, remember that old thing? Like when you wanted to play with your friends, you had to play on the same TV in the same room. I'm a big fan of couch co-op, so I can't wait to dive back into this. The only thing is that Xbox players don't have access to online multiplayer. Multiplayer is only gonna be available to the Nintendo Switch version, which is, yeah, kind of a bummer, but again, this game was meant to be, in its purest form, enjoyed with other people in the same room on the same screen, so I can give it a pass. Also, if you own a copy of the Rare Replay, you will get this game for free. This rounds out a pretty impressive month for Xbox Game Pass when it comes to ports. We got a couple of Persona games on there, 007, Monster Hunter Rise, and they're finishing out the month by bringing over Age of Empires 2, like we were just talking about. And overall, a strong month for Game Pass additions. Can't wait to see what they do in the month of February. Next up, let's talk about the tiniest Xbox. I'm referring to this Xbox Series S Walkman. Now, the Walkman was even a little bit before my time, so me describing it probably not doing justice to my older viewers, but from my understanding, the Walkman was like a portable cassette player. When I was growing up, I had a CD player that I had to carry around. Well, back in December, Xbox over in the UK was running this competition, this promotion, where they were giving away this Walkman modeled after an Xbox Series S. And now that same Walkman is appearing on social media. It is indeed a real thing. It's kind of like in one of my first videos when I was talking about that special edition Series X that they did for Far Cry. In this video that was shared to Twitter, you can see that this is an actual functioning cassette player, and then it comes with an Xbox Game Pass cassette that's loaded up with tracks from like Fallout and other Xbox games. And this is just another case where Xbox runs a promotion and then gives away something really cool, but you can't buy it. This is like a couple of months ago when they were doing that promotion, giving away that special edition Series S that just looked like the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle van that they used to sell back in the day. And I was like, what the heck, man? I would totally buy that just as is. I really feel like Xbox can make a killing if they decided to produce these in mass and then sell them. I mean, they already freaking put out the Xbox controller hoodie. Why wouldn't they do it with something cool like this, a Series S Walkman? So as silly as it sounds, I really feel like Xbox should consider producing these and selling them. Next up, let's talk about Developer Direct. On Wednesday, the Xbox team had a small little showcase dedicated to showing off 4 games, which ended up being 5 games. It was like a short 43-minute show. Overall, I was a fan of the format of this show. I know we're all kind of used to these big E3 style blowouts, but I feel like Xbox should continue with these shorter, more condensed formats. They were very clear with the expectations for this Developer Direct going in. They were like, listen, we are going to focus on gameplay. These 4 games, guys, 43 minutes, these 4 games. And they delivered exactly that. Plus, an additional game, Hi-Fi Rush. Minecraft Legends I actually thought was pretty interesting. I don't play Minecraft at all, and people were texting me during the show when they were showing Minecraft Legends, and they were like, oh, this is boring, I want them to move on to something else. I might be the only one who looked at that game and I was like, oh, this looks like kind of interesting. I like games like that. I like building up my own base. I like attacking other players' base. I saw a lot of people in the chat for the stream. They were like, oh, this is just like Clash of Clans. Wait, is it? I used to play a lot of Clash of Clans back in college, I wasn't getting those vibes. I don't know if like people are just gonna be saying that for every game that involves you building a base and then attacking another player's base. Like when Age of Empires comes to Game Pass, or people are gonna be like, oh, this is just like freaking Clash of Clans. What the heck? This is just Clash of Clans. Wanna be Clash of Clans. Forza Motorsport, there really is no surprises. It looks gorgeous. They said they were gonna be rendering the game at 4K 60 FPS with real-time ray tracing, so you'll literally be able to see the reflection of your car and like the bumper of the car in front of you. I say that's no surprise because a good-looking game is something we've come to expect from the Forza franchise. For a lot of people, this was the highlight of the show. I'm not really a big racing game guy. I'm sorry, guys. I have tried it. I played a lot of Forza Horizon 5, and yeah, it was pretty fun, but I wasn't like itching to go back in and spend a lot of time with it. Curiously enough, Forza Motorsport is the only game in this showcase that didn't have a release date, a firm release date. Previous to this, I was under the impression that this game was gonna release in the spring of 2023. And then at Developer Direct, they were just like sometime in 2023. I don't know what that means for the release window of this game. I know a lot of people were really looking forward to this game, so I understand it's pretty disappointing to see that. Hopefully we get an update on the release window and a firm release date sometime soon. Now, a day or two before Developer Direct, I was seeing things online. They were saying, oh, Tango Games, they're gonna be announcing a new game at Developer Direct. It was like this really awesome leak. I was like, oh, okay, that could be really cool. And it turns out the rumors were true. Tango Gameworks came out guns blazing. They were like, yo guys, we got this new game we've been working on. It's called Hi-Fi Rush, which is basically like a hack and slash rhythm-based game. This was easily the highlight of the show for me. There are a lot of creative influences in this game for me that I personally very much vibe with. I see shades, of course, of Sunset Overdrive. It kind of reminds me of Metal Hellsinger, which was another rhythm-based game that came to Game Pass in 2022, although it's much more forgiving. I see shades of Into the Spider-Verse. They kind of do this really awesome 3D animation, but it has shades of like comic book influences. It also kind of reminds me of Fooly Cooly, which was this old school anime that I watched as a kid growing up. It was set to the soundtrack from this Japanese rock band called The Pillows, and the main character, Haruko, had this guitar that she would beat the crap out of people with. And it also has elements from action JRPGs like Scarlet Nexus, with like the aerial combos, the flashy little attack combos, and partner moves, things like that. I'm about 4 or 5 hours into the game, and I'm really enjoying it. I also thought that the stealth drop from Tango Gameworks was really smart for a couple of reasons. The main one being it allowed them to sidestep any negative criticism or any commentary from the video game community of like, oh, what are they doing? They usually make psychological horror games, and now they're making like this goofy comic book rhythm hack and slash whatever the hell. By releasing the game the day that they announced it, they were able to just skip all of that discourse. And it also showed like a really awesome synchronicity of the whole Xbox ecosystem. It was like, okay, yeah, we just announced this game, and if you want to play it, you can download it on Game Pass today. The whole day and date model was really validated with this whole drop. We've seen Microsoft do this in the past. Back when they did the 20th anniversary showcase, they were like, yeah, Halo Infinite's coming out in a month, but you could play the multiplayer right now. Literally, you could download it right now. And everyone was like, oh my God, we're gonna be playing Halo again. This was before everyone was like going back and forth on whether or not Halo was good or not. And overall, I just thought it was an effective tactic on Xbox's part, because they were like, listen, we have these games coming up in April, in May, in June, the expansion for ESO, and then we don't really know when Forza Motorsport 8 is coming out, but you could play this game today, right now. You have something to look forward to immediately. There's something that you can check out right now. Elder Scrolls Online, I know a lot of people don't care about this game. At this point, it's like almost a 10-year-old game, but I have a long history with this. I played like in the last couple of waves of the beta rounds for this game, and I spent a lot of time. This is like the last MMO that I really went hard in. And honestly, it amazes me that they're still doing new chapters, new updates. The big news, however, is not so much the new chapter that they're coming out with, but that all the previous updates and DLC, except for High Isle, are going to be free with the base game, which is crazy because that's like hundreds of dollars worth of content if you were to buy it separately. I thought it was a cool move to help generate interest in an older title. They were saying if you like Skyrim and Oblivion, then you will like Elder Scrolls Online, and I have to disagree. And this is coming from a guy who likes Skyrim and Oblivion. The fundamental gameplay of the Elder Scrolls Online is vastly different from what you will encounter in Skyrim and Oblivion. And I think that is why initially Elder Scrolls Online got so much hate. People were expecting it to be like online Skyrim, like Skyrim co-op. And then when they finally got their hands on it, they were like, what the hell? This is just an MMO. If you were really into the Elder Scrolls lore, then yeah, this is a game that I think you will really enjoy because you get to explore all of Tamriel, all the regions, literally all the regions. And then finally, Redfall, which I was going into this thinking it was like the marquee game, like the game that everyone is waiting for. I hate to say it, I walked away a little bit disappointed with Redfall showing. You know, it doesn't look like a terrible game. It doesn't look like the worst game ever made, but something about it is just not grabbing me in the way that I thought it would. Now, conventional wisdom says, do not doubt Arcane Studios, because they've been behind some really great games, some really great titles. They have a good pedigree and they got a good reputation in the industry. But for some reason, this is just not getting me pumped for Redfall, what we've seen so far. I can't quite put my finger on it. Pretty standard mechanic for a lot of FPS games, just like the slide and shoot and then jump up. It seemed kind of slow and clunky. I felt like they were trying to be real careful with how fast they moved the camera. They were literally like, you could see them aiming and just kind of like slowly, ever so inching across the screen. I also just don't find the vampire super scary as of yet. Even that one they showed off where it was like, oh, this vampire has a special power where they can make everything turn to darkness and even like go into the ground and burrow back up and surprise you. It also didn't help that like the strategy didn't shift. It was like, oh, I'm just gonna continue slowly shooting at this vampire until it no longer exists. There are some abilities in that game that look really cool, and then there are some that look okay. They're like not as exciting. Like the girl that can summon a freaking spectral elevator that launches her teammates into the sky and then has like a freaking telekinetic field that absorbs bullets and other projectiles. That's cool. But the other one that they showed off where it's like the guy teleports behind the zombie or the vampire or whatever, and again, he just kind of like ding, 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 ding. I was like, okay, that wasn't as cool. That wasn't as impressive. I was going into this game fully expecting that I wanted to experience this game from a single player perspective like Arcane's other shooters, but looking at it now, I'm like, okay, I kind of feel like in order to get the full experience of this game, you have to play co-op. Again, these are just my first impressions of a limited slice of gameplay that we were shown. If you're still excited for Redfall, more power to you. Hopefully my opinion will change when we're closer to the release date and I actually get my hands on this game because I'm rooting for these guys. Anyway, that's all the news I have for today. Thanks so much for joining me for another edition of Xbox Ready. Make sure you follow me on Twitter, on Instagram. I'm at State of Ray. And I also have a new anime channel that I'm trying to launch called Ray Nami, so I'd really appreciate it if you checked it out.